All right. Well, what is up, everybody? Keith Jameson, Go by Gator Guy 231. And it is a happy Tuesday morning. We have Champions League back, which means two big slates. I'm only going to be covering the main slate. If you're interested in coverage of the early slate, get into the Discord and FSI membership. Promise you it's worth it. All the soccer you could possibly want in that membership. But you are not here to be sold. You are here to be sold on what players to play. And I'm happy to do that. Just a quick reminder, if you do want to repay us, you don't want to spend real money to buy membership, but if you could mash that subscribe button, like, comment, all that really helps these videos do well. And we're getting so close to 3,000 subscribers. So could really use the help. All right. I don't really have a ton to say. I don't have any soliloquy, no other big thoughts made. It's because it's 5:45 in the morning as I'm recording this on Tuesday morning. So let's just jump right into the games. This is your first time watching these videos. These are a lot less about, who necessarily to play or what, the roster construction or the salaries are all times. I'm going to mention that, but I really want you to introduce you to the teams, explain the rules, explain the odds, explain, some strategy, all that good stuff. And if nothing else, I just kind of will ramble. So let's get into it. All right. So I was actually, just before getting on, just checking some Dortmund stuff out. So what I want to start with is Real Madrid hosting Sheriff. By the way, if you have no idea who FC Sheriff Tiraspol is, you should actually research the stuff. It's so weird. It's like a Russian province in another country. It's pretty crazy stuff. But regardless, this is a mismatch. This is the mismatch of the day. We've got Real Madrid minus 1,000. You got a total hovering over 3.5. So the bookies implying Madrid at least for 3 goals. It could be more. Karim Benzema is on the cover of this. Central Storm and I had this little joke on Interleague because Karim Benzema's salary is getting a little crazy on IL slates, like, in Messi, Ronaldo territory. I think he was like 12-2. And we actually just joked that it's the Benzema rules, which means if it's at home and if Madrid are any sort of a favorite, at this point, you just have to play him. He's just that good. No, he does not take set pieces, but, he has PKs. He's the center of everything that Madrid does. The ball goes into him. He holds up play. He creates for others. He's beyond a clinical finisher. I mean, he's at this point a top 10 footballer in the world, no matter the position, which is kind of crazy because he used to be just, Ronaldo's sidekick. And I think we almost forgot how good Benzema is. But to me, he's just a lock and load. I'd be shocked if he doesn't come up with at least 1 goal. Realistically, you're probably looking at assists too. So Benzema to me is just like the easiest play in the slate. The first guy, when you see Madrid's matchup, the first guy you click and then you move on from there. Now, set pieces based on this lineup is probably Luka Modric. You could have some David Alaba. You could even have some Eden Hazard. I'm going to argue, and hopefully not argue this incorrectly. Let's before I say this out, let me just double check Luka Modric's salary. Okay, 6,200 Luka Modric. If we don't see Marcos Asensio, I think is fine in cash. He should have at least half the corners, if not a monopoly. At 6,200, we don't need a goal or assist to get there. 9, 10, 11 DK will be just fine. I'm going to argue, though, and I'm still going to. I got on here to say I'm going to argue this. Now I'm definitely going to. That I would rather use the Luka Modric salary for Vinny Jr., who has been sensational under Carlo Ancelotti. Like, absolutely sensational. Like, let's, pull up just here. This is why I like SofaScore more than, especially on UCL days, more than Draftkings, because you can see kind of their SofaScore rating. Anything dark green means they played a hell of a good game, and you can see had an assist, goal and assist, played well versus Inter, goal. He's been awesome. He's been everything he was projected to be when he came over, and he's only 7,400. I think Vinny Jr. makes a ton of sense. And then I also think Eden Hazard at 6,900 makes a ton of sense. Any of these front players for Real Madrid that are going to have more goal equity than just corner, I think is the way to go. Also, I want to point out Nacho Fernandez at like 3,600 is way cheap for a fullback on a favored Madrid here. Nacho, even though he's kind of more of a natural center back, he plays anywhere on the back line. And he will go up there and cross the ball. You could get 3-4 crosses, get one in Karim Benzema's head, and you're good to go. Camavinga has been great for Madrid. He and Casemiro, to me, are just more like, if you're just going full onslaught, you can do it. And then Courtois, obviously, if you want to put up a clean sheet, on Champions League slates, when there is big scoring, I think paying up for goalie is less and less important. Then, when you have a chance to get 12 goalies, there's some good pay down options, and that salary can often be used for a big player. So small slates, I like paying up for keeper. The bigger the slate, the more often it is I'm going to get down. My weekly reminder for those that are new, one of the best ways, because I think goalie, when a new subscriber comes to FSI Discord or something on this YouTube page, one of the most common questions I get is like a goalie question, which is brutal. Like, you want to like twist me into knots, ask me a goalie question, because it's so hard. Like, you could say, play XYZ or play Thibaut Courtois as a big favorite. And yeah, if he gets one save, a win, and a clean sheet, you get 12, you look great. But, you paid 6,000 for it. And if he does concede, you're screwed. But you could have paid, 4,200 for Diogo Costa. He all of a sudden stands on his head, has more chances at shots, gets 7 saves, concedes 1, that's 12 too, and you saved money. So it's just really hard. It's a results driven question, but the best advice I can give is start with the lowest keeper, or at least the lowest keeper you can tolerate. Build your lineup. If you have salary left over, move up. All right, I think I covered this game well. Let's go on to and I should just say this, and I'll say this as I get to this game. Dortmund hosting Sporting Portugal, minus 222 favorite. This should be a little less than 3 for the goal total. Yeah, pretty heavily under there, just right around 3. I think the decision of the slate is, do you play Erling Haaland? He has a little bit of muscular injury. I think he's going to play through it. They're minus 220 favorite. Here's the thing with Dortmund. They're so un-DFS friendly still, even with the manager training, even with Marco Rosa, that it's all just like, do you go Haaland, or do you go more Madrid, or do you go Messi, or do you go De Bruyne? I think that's going to, in a lot of, or do you go like maybe a Leipzig piece? Do you go my boy Sozonaldo? It's Sozobly, but watch the free kick for Hungary like a year and a half ago, and you'll understand why. In our Discord chat, he's lovingly referred to as Sozonaldo. But I think all that is the most important thing. Are you going to play Haaland? And the most important thing on the slate, are you going to play Haaland? If he scores 1 goal, that's great. He's fadeable. If he scores 2 goals, he's not so fadeable. If he scores 3 goals, you're screwed, right? Because he's Erling Haaland. He's going to have ownership. He's probably going to have 30, 40, up to maybe 50% in cash. So do you play Messi minus 222 with a muscle injury? But he's a beast, right? And we saw Sporting Portugal at home versus Ajax in a game that, we're like, okay, Sporting Portugal should be able to get this. Get absolutely run over by Sebastian Haller with 4 goals. Like, what is Erling Haaland going to do, right? So I'm wavering back and forth. I think the conservative side of me wants to go, no, I'll go get sets. The more aggressive side of me is like, just lock in Haaland. As long as he scores 1 goal, I can make up the rest of it. I don't know. I'm back and forth. But to me, it's, if you don't play Haaland, do you even play another Dortmund, right? Let's look at this lineup here. Look at the injuries Dortmund's dealing with there. And Haaland's not as much doubtful as he is like probable. But, is it Marco Reus taking corners? My guess would be it's either Daniel Malin or Rafael Guerrero. Obviously, if we saw Gio Reyna, if he's out already, apologies. I didn't research Dortmund too much, because even if the guys are on, their corners are a mess. But, if Gio Reyna's on, he would take. If Thorgan Hazard is on, he would take. But if it's based on something like this, probably Malin or Guerrero. And even that is thin, right? Both those guys are sub-risk. So I don't love Dortmund other than Haaland. Nobody else really want to talk about. Now, one guy I do want to talk about on the Sporting side, I should just say this for Sporting. I'm not that nervous about playing Sporting here. Dortmund has been terrible defensively all season under Rosa. Sporting, needs a point at this point. I think that they, have no problem attacking. And one of their biggest attacking outlet says Pedro Porro, the Manchester City loanee. I just want to show you what DFS gold looks like. All right. That heat map, DFS gold, 23 crosses. Yeah, all about it. Crosses a ton from his wing back position. Additionally, take some set pieces. They're split. I think it's with Pablo Sarabia. Let me just double check. Yeah, with Sarabia, or you could see Nuno Santos take some too. All of them are super cheap. Pedro Porro is only 3,500, which I think is crazy. Like, even if he didn't have set pieces, I would want him. Nuno Santos is only 3,000. And then Sarabia is going to be more expensive, 4,700. But all of them are really good plays. If you do think that Sporting is going to score, Paulinho looked really good in the first. He had a goal taken off, like for the smallest offside you'll ever see. So he could have had 2 goals last game versus Ajax. So I think he's in play. That's the Porto guy's target. Let's go on to PSG versus City. Obviously, this is the game you want to watch. Just star power everywhere. I think Messi is going to play everything I can see. So I don't think this is Draxler. I think this is Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar for another go. They obviously looked really, really quite awful in their first Ligue 1 game and their first UCL game versus Club Brugge at home. I'm sorry, Club Brugge away, a little different. But I would argue, with the exception of City somehow throwing out like a clown car lineup, which doesn't happen. Like, when you own like all the world's oil, it's a terrible joke. But City just has so much money, right? So much money. You look at their bench, and there's never going to be a clown car because they just have so much depth. It's like, all right, their rotating team, still has Raheem Sterling, still has, Gabriel Jesus, has just Bernardo Silva. Name the star, and they're on still. Give me a quick second. So, I kind of think this game is a stay away, but they're still messy. Messi's still messy. Messi's still going to, no matter how like tough it's been or how much struggle there's going to be, you can always guarantee that Messi will show up with at least one huge chance. And if he converts it, he's rocking and rolling, and he's probably going to get 20 DK. So I think it's weird to say this, that Messi might be a contrarian option, but I think given how sharp DFS soccer is becoming, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe are all contrarian options. So from a GPP perspective, if you think City is going to get a little bit loose or something, or attack too much, maybe that's the way to go. Stack a Messi, Neymar, and there's, even though the match doesn't look good, like, you can never argue with somebody saying, I'm just going to stack Messi and Neymar and see what the results hold. But that's the only way you attack any sort of PSG here. On the City side of things, Kevin De Bruyne was the Kevin De Bruyne of old versus Chelsea. We saw him back on set pieces, back in a free roll. Jack Grealish took him last leg. It's kind of tilting for those of us that played Kevin De Bruyne, but I think those days are gone. Obviously, Mahrez would split with him, or if you see Phil Foden, we know Phil Foden would split. But again, away to PSG, I don't think this is a game that I'm going to spin the City roulette wheel or try to risk any of those things. But City is a slight favorite. That is really interesting. All right, Red Bull Leipzig hosting Club Brugge. Leipzig's minus 250. This total is right around 3. So I think one of the biggest things we want to see here is what the Leipzig lineup will look like. They can go a lot of ways. Angelino is out for this game. With him out, if Sosa is in, he should take almost monopoly of set pieces we've seen so far this season. He's at, let me see, 8,400, which is a really nice price. Gets you access to, sorry, why I'm itching. Sosa at 8,400 gets you access to a big favorite, access to set pieces, and he plays an attacking role. Like, even though he's playing wing back here, he's going to kind of drift all over the place. So he's by far my favorite Leipzig piece. I did see Poulsen is really cheap. That kind of stuck out. Like, if you're wanting to do for GPP Leipzig stack, 5,100 for a center forward, minus 25 or a -250 favorite is really good. And Kunku might be pretty popular after last leg. He scored 3 goals versus Man City, and they sold 37.8. If you don't see Sozablai and Kunku without Angelino and without Sozablai, actually might get close to being like a really strong, maybe almost lock play if he has a monopoly set pieces, but he does lose sets to Sozablai. So just watch that. Forsberg's a nice player, can take some corners too. Mukalele, I think he's like 4,400 playing wing back on a big favorite. I think makes a ton of sense too. So like Leipzig here. On the Bruges side of things, Noah Lang, for us so rare people out there, is like one of the best players on that platform. He's going to get a big move here soon. Young, just absolute stud. He's only 5,000. Rebel Leipzig can definitely allow goals, definitely get open, even under Jesse Marsh. So I like Noah Lang quite a bit. There, Hans Vanaken. And I should say Noah Lang based on this lineup, but also have a share set pieces if we don't see a Ruud Vormer who's out. So yeah, it should be Noah Lang. Hans Vanaken, great player for the Dutch national team at this point. Is it Dutch? Netherlands, yeah. Jeez, sorry. Also a really good player. Hasn't really taken any set pieces, so I think he's fine if you want to like stack with Noah Lang. Charles de Ketelaere has been awesome all season too. That's a nice little contrarian stack to put Ketelaere Lang together. You could run it back with Vanaken too. I think that's maybe a little bit much. Just do the 2 attackers, and I think you're in good shape. All right, let's go to Porto versus Liverpool. One big thing here on the Liverpool side is Trent Alexander-Arnold did not make the trip to Portugal. So this will be James Milner. James Milner, if you actually saw when I first brought up my Draftkings screen like 10 minutes ago or whenever I started this, we had him up at 4,200. He'd be over a share of set pieces, 4,200, playing right back. Last game that he played there, he had like 13 or 14 crosses. So I think he'd be close to a lock and load for me if he gets to start. On the left, I would assume this is Andy Robertson. I don't think Tsimikas is going to play this game. It's fairly important for Liverpool, but reality is we got City on the weekend. So, Klopp could choose to rotate here, maybe play some of his star guys or just bring them on in the second half. It'll be interesting to see what he does. He rotated big last Champions League game versus Milan. So maybe he feels like he kind of has some points in hand and just wants to focus on the league. I really don't know. It's going to be one of those things where I'm going to see the lineups. But I will say this, going to Porto as Juventus is not an easy task at all. So I'm not very high on my team. Maybe Liverpool, if you get like Salah, Mane, and Jota all in, they're a contrarian GPP stack because Liverpool just can show up with huge goals. Like even that bad game versus Brentford, they still scored 3 goals, could have scored like 5. So Liverpool can always score goals, and I don't think they'll be owned at all. So I think they could be a GPP look, but from like a cash and optimal sense, I think for me it's like Milner or Robertson or Tsimikas, but I prefer Robertson to 5,600, Tsimikas is 6,500. Either one of them would split with the other side with Milner. But yeah, I think I just might move do James Milner and move on with Liverpool. I actually like Porto a decent amount here, especially more contrarian. Let me make sure I get you the right set, guys. So for Porto, if Sergio Oliveira is in, he's going to take a monopoly at 5,200. I think he's nice, especially considering I'm not huge on Liverpool here. But also we saw Vieira take sets too when he's in. And if you don't see either, it's Octavio. Should be their set pieces. Tony Martinez has been decent to start the season, then he kind of fell off. You also see Corona take some. They have some nice players here. Luis Diaz is good in open play too, but those are your set guys. So Oliveira, if in, would take everything. Vieira, and then probably Octavio / Corona. I like Costa here. Good young keeper. In Porto, so if you see Liverpool rotate, I think he becomes a really, really popular option. All right, is this the last game? Last game, Milan versus Atletico Madrid. Stay away. If I could have like a caution tape or like a red X graphic, I'm not that good at this. That would be on this. There's nothing here. Nothing to see. You want to go way GPP? Stack one of these two, but this is ugly. Square game. You got a total under 2.5. Stay away. Just stay away. If you see like a $2,500 fullback, I guess that's the only way to do it. But Tonali, Brahim Diaz sets for Milan. For Atletico Madrid, we always joke in chat, their set sucks. It's probably Carrasco, Trippier, Koke, or DePaul. Whoever is like feeling up to it does it, but no, just stay away from that game. There's better spots. I just spent last 20 minutes talking about 5 other better spots. Do that versus Madrid. All right, that'll do it. I might try to get prize picks up depending on my schedule if I have time to look at it. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. Let's see if I do this right. It's that one. It's always weird when I do the pointing because it's inverted, right? So at GatorGuy231 on Twitter. I'll try to look at some monkey knife fight or some prize picks, and if I get a chance, get it up in our Discord and hopefully on my Twitter. If not, looking for the slate. I think it should be fun. Again, I think the biggest decision in the slate is, after you plug in Benzema, hopefully one other Real Madrid attacker. Do you play Haaland or do you go somewhere else? Do you go in Cuckoo? Do you go Messi? Do you go another play that I'm not thinking about this second? So should be fun. Wish you all the best of luck. Thank you all once again for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And with that, I'll say, see you.